Well, ladies and gentlemen, here we go again. We literally just made a video on IGN France and how they supposedly apologized for the remarks that were made from a journalist against the creator of Stellar Blade, and essentially saying that he has never seen a real woman before. You know, like that whole argument that they were trying to make in that article was obviously ridiculous, to the point where they had to come out, remove it, and apologize for it publicly and have egg on their face. Well, apparently, not everybody at IGN France has seen that apology, or they all have different ideas. I really don't know, because apparently IGN France editor-in-chief Erwin Lafarielle implies that Eve's design in Stellar Blade is killing women and accuses gamers of becoming too fragile due to being fed the patriarchy.
What the hell is even that?
Now, again, guys, we literally just had somebody make a blatant, small but blatant, stupid statement, and that got deleted. And yet this guy, who is an editor-in-chief, is able to come out and essentially say that Stellar Blade is killing women. I saw this trending on Twitter, and I couldn't believe that it was actually trending, and I was curious as to why it was trending. I thought it was a joke at first. I really thought it was like a late April Fool's joke, but no, he really did melt down over this. He really did try to imply and say that Stellar Blade is responsible for this. It's ridiculous, and the cope around Stellar Blade from all these mainstream gaming outlets is just pathetic. So let's get into this article, guys, from That Park Place. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. It says IGN France editor-in-chief Erwin Lafarielle recently implied that Shift Up's corporation design of their main character Eve in Stellar Blade is killing women. He also asserted that gamers have become too fragile due to being fed the patriarchy, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, that stubborn patriarchy that every single woman seems to benefit from, and yet they keep complaining about. It's ridiculous the amount of times that we have seen the buzzword, the patriarchy, come up, especially in gaming. A lot of the people who were responsible for Gamergate 1.0, that's what they were advocating against. That's what they were actively trying to fight against, at least in their mind anyway, the patriarchy in gaming and the patriarchy as a whole, and yet that fell through. So I can only imagine how this is going to fall through. But yes, editor-in-chief, somebody who's very high up in IGN, is putting out dumb statement. News at 11. Back to you, Bob. It says, as brought to public attention by former World of Warcraft team lead Mark Kern in a now deleted comment on IGN France's Stellar Blade preview, Lafarielle, also happens to be the author of Fallout: A Tale of Mutation, responded to a comment made by a user who stated, it's a shame that women also like this character design. Guys who are afraid of hypersexualization as if it were dirty. Long live the Neo-Puritans. And then it says, as translated by X user Topec899 and shared to X by Kern, Lafarielle responded, yes, no problem. Go tell that to the women who are hit, killed, denigrated, or who commit suicide because they cannot live up to the fictional standards expected by men. Okay, so it's up to the game to basically babysit for someone's mental illness. Is that what we're going with now? It's up to the video game and the developers to babysit for people's mental illness. It's ridiculous that you are going to try to say that Stellar Blade is the cause of women offing themselves when we know that there is so much more to it than that. Stellar Blade is not even 1% of the problems that person is probably experiencing to get to that point in their life. You know that to be true, and yet you're going to be disingenuous and try to make it seem as if gamers just want sexy characters just for the point of being sexy, and they wanted to mimic real life as well. It says, he continued, the problem is not the sexy design itself, except that it sucks compared to others, but hey, that doesn't matter. So apparently sexy women suck compared to other more modern designs, but the percentage of males who will only want this type of fictional body in reality, obviously we'll understand that this does not shock people who think that women are objects who must obey and be beaten. This design makes us sigh and roll our eyes, and we laugh at anyone who needs it, man or woman, but that's it. Dude, these people are so disingenuous because they will be the first ones to praise some hypersexualized male in a video game and talk about his dick and balls. I've seen so many articles with headlines focusing on that they are hypocrites. Like, I really don't know how else to say other than that. They're hypocrites, and they don't really mean what they're saying. They're just virtue signaling. They know that they have to. They have to virtue signal. That's part of their job now. That's part of their corporate ideology. They need to make sure they get it out. Now, I think it's funny that they're trying to make this comparison and make it seem as if it's just absolute truth, right? Women are in fact offing themselves because of Stellar Blade. That's why. And we need to stop making sexy characters in order to save women. Like, it's so frustrating. It really is, because you just know when someone is being so disingenuous, and you just can't, there's like nothing you can say. They're going to just live in that disingenuous nature, and they're going to try to convince their whatever little fan base they have of them being true. It says LaFiero continued or concluded that certainly clashing remark in the text, which targets the entire creative process, not necessarily a specific designer or the game director. This is obvious to anyone who knows a little French, only has this impact because a good portion of gamers have become too fragile due to being fed the patriarchy. So I like how you're upset that one of your writers, I guess, over at IGN got called out for his absolutely stupid remarks against the creator of Stellar Blade, and yet you want to call us fragile. You want to call gamers fragile, yet you guys are the ones that need to see yourselves in everything you do to feel validated. You say we're fragile, and yet you guys want to control all speech so that you don't hear naughty words. You don't hear naughty hate speech or speech that you deem as hate speech because you're so fucking fragile. Let's be real. You guys are absolutely the most fragile people on this planet. I have seen nothing more fragile than you. And honestly, it's a joke that you would call someone else fragile, knowing that you are trying to control the narrative, ban speech, control speech, edit speech, do everything you can to try to live and stay in your echo chamber of safety. And yet the moment your worldview is challenged, you want to melt down like this and make a whole bunch of tweets about how women are literally offing themselves because of Stellar Blade. A translation of Lafariel's response via Deep L reads, "Yes, no problem. Tell that to the women who get beaten up and denigrated, or who commit suicide because they can't live up to fictitious standards expected by men. It's not the sexy design itself that's the problem, etc., etc. You guys already know." The translation continues, "For us, this design makes us sigh and roll our eyes, and we don't care who needs it, man or woman, but that's all." The text admittedly clashing remark aimed at the entire creation process, not necessarily a specific designer. So again, guys, I don't really care. I think this entire thing is a massive amount of cope, okay? I think Ben Osala is probably seething right now that his comments got removed by IGN France, and yet at the same token, the editor-in-chief of IGN France is saying some nonsense. So really, you could see why Ben Osala said what he said. You can see it now, right? You can see that the rot doesn't go very far. You know what I mean? Like, the rot runs extremely deep. That's what I meant to say. The rot runs extremely deep to the point where if the editor-in-chief is saying this, why would anybody be shocked that the writers are trying to sneak in jab lines at creators whenever they write their articles? This is why they do it. They do it because the higher-ups do it, and the people above them do it, and the people above them request it. So this is modern day gaming journalism, ladies and gentlemen. It's unfortunate, but it's true. And the only thing we can do is just keep roasting them. That's it. Just keep roasting them, putting them in the public eye, because it makes them melt down. It makes them so upset that they show it on Twitter. They show exactly how upset they are. They start doing a whole bunch of threads and pretending like not to be mad and pretending to be hyper intellectuals. And yet they get down and dirty with the rest of anybody else, and they lose their mind over it. So I'm happy to see it go down, and I cannot wait to see what comes of this particular thing with the editor-in-chief from IGN. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.